Hi, everybody. Toby Milroy here again, Vice President for AMS, and welcome to today's quick lesson on web forms. This is very cool new integration into the Atlas martial arts software system that's really going to help you generate more students in your school. I'm sure we've all been on websites and we've seen, in fact, this is martialartsforme.com. This is actually an additional benefit for Atlas users. So if you're not listed on martialartsforme.com, you should call your marketing consultant here at AMS and get yourself on here. But we've all seen websites like this, and we all use websites like this, frankly, where we have over here, kind of like what we call a squeeze page, right? A page where someone can fill in their information. And if you're using our websites, we'll have built some of this for you. If you're using your own website, you'll want to have some kind of a data collection, lead collection mechanism on your website. In this particular example, we're using a free report over here as bait, but the mechanical piece of it is I collect their first name, last name, email, zip code, whatever it might be, right? So this is a data capture, a lead capture mechanism. If your website isn't currently set up to do that, you really need to talk to your marketing rep here at AMS, and we'll help you with that. But this is the primary focus of your efforts. Actually, it's secondary, but it's the second most important focus of your website is to generate a lead, for that lead to be able to, for someone to be able to give you their information, usually in exchange for some kind of a bonus, but so that they can now be entered into your system and you can follow up with them. So here's how you do that with Atlas martial arts software. We're able to build this form over here, or a form similar to this, right inside your application. So this is really going to help you get that data into your system. So I'm just going to go over here on the left navigation under Advanced, Social, and Web Forms. And we may rename a few of these. I think we have a web link coming up here pretty quickly. But it's the Web Forms item. And this is a web form builder. This is a very cool drag and drop, very intuitive, very easy to use form builder to build forms that people can fill out on your form, and the data goes right into your Atlas system. So I'll just walk you through this really quickly here. First name and last name are already added to the form for us. Let's say I want to also collect their cell phone number, okay, and their email address. So I just drag and drop these fields. If I want to reorder them, I can just kind of drag it and move it. I can move these fields around, that kind of thing. I think this is probably how I want it. I probably want first name, last name, cell phone, and email. That's good enough. Now, there's one additional kind of cool form, field here. You see this field at the bottom. It looks a little bit different. There's a little bit of space here. This field allows you to program this web form and tell it what program these leads are interested in. And you can do it in two ways. The first way is this. If you're going to put this web form, for example, on your kids page, on the kids page of your website, and you know that the people who are filling that form out are going to be interested in your kids program, or any program, but just one program, you're going to go to this drop-down menu where it says Program Interested, and you're just going to pick it. So, for example, after school. Let's say I'm going to put this web form on my after school page. So I know anybody who fills out the form, they're interested in the after-school program. So all I have to do on the left over here is just select it from the list. I don't have to move it over there. I just select it from the list, and I have now told the system that this form is going to be for my after-school program. Anybody who fills the form out, they're going to be, the program interested set in their file is going to be after school. Okay? Now, if you want them to pick, for example, let's say you were on a web page that had multiple program options, maybe kids, adults, after school, whatever the case might be, and that's where this form is going to live. Then what you do is you just take this field and you drag it over to your form and you let them pick. You let the users pick, right? You let them kind of choose which one they want. Now, for most cases, you're going to select it for them over here and not add it to your form. Okay, but you can kind of decide that for yourself. So step number one is I drag my fields over to the form and build the form that I want. Step number two is I kind of like set my program interested if I want to. I set my program interested. Step number next is I just work my way across the tabs at the top of the navigation here. I go form configuration. So let's say I want a gray theme instead of a blue one, or a blue one instead of a green one, or a red one, or whatever the case might be. So I just pick my theme. Now I can also control this text. All the text that's in these fields, I can say, send me the free report, or something like that. I can also customize the second line of text, second cool line of text here. And I can, let me actually spell that right. And of course I can control the the size of the font if I want to. I can make that smaller. I can make it bigger. I can kind of control that however I like. I can also control what is on the send button. So maybe I wanted to say, yes, please send me the report. Something like that, right? And of course I can control the font size there as well. Now you do have to be careful with that. You don't want the button to break outside the limits of your form. So you have to be strategic about that. I can now also set the form width. Do I want it to be 200 pixels wide? Very narrow. Again, I have to adjust my button if I did that. 400 pixels wide. I don't know, 500. Whatever you like, right? You can kind of select the width of your form. And then the completed page. This is when someone fills out the form and they hit submit. Where do you want them to be redirected? And for right now, I'm just going to put in google.com, just as an example. This little jQuery button down here, that button is a little bit magical. I'm gonna jump around a page here. It's a little bit magical, meaning that insert jQuery. Some websites do not have jQuery or the support for jQuery built into them, and some do. And I want you to be able to use this form on virtually any website. So many websites will support, many modern websites, you won't need to turn this on. You won't need to tick that box. But if you find a website where your form won't submit, the button won't work, then you may have to enable jQuery down here. So try it without it first. If for some reason it's not supported on your site or it's not included in your site, again, most modern sites it will be. But if it's not, just tick that jQuery button and we'll add the jQuery right to the code for you. I'm going to get to my form test page here real quick. So now I've set all my settings. The next tab across the top is HTML embed code. So I click that and it gives me the code. So I click inside there. I can hit Control A to select it all and then Control C to copy it, or however you want to do it. If you want to drag down through the whole thing and copy it, you can do that too. You can right click and hit copy. You select this entire scary looking piece of code, which really isn't very scary at all, but you grab all this code, the entire box from start to finish, and then you're just going to take that and drop it onto your page or your widget or whatever the case might be. If you're using a site like this that has a back-end editor, you're always going to want to go to the text editor section. You're never going to want to use the visual editor. You're always going to want to use the text or code editor. And then you just copy and paste that in there. Many of you are probably just going to have your web developer do this, but you have the flexibility to do it either way you want to. You just pop that code in there. You hit update on your site, depending on the type of site that you're using. And then you just go and look at it, and here's the form built out onto my page. Now I'm going to fill it in. Let's say my name is Teddy Roosevelt, and my cell phone number is 99999. We did some data validation here for you too, so that you get a good number, or that you get at least a number formatted like a number. I'm going to call it teddy.roosevelt@test.com, and then I hit submit. All that data is magically going into my Atlas system, and I've now been redirected to google.com, the page that I wanted. Now, obviously, I wouldn't typically redirect myself to Google. I would redirect myself to, a success page. So you set a success page up on your website, and you can redirect them there. But obviously, the lesson here is you can redirect them wherever you like. Now, since I'm back in Atlas, let me go see if Teddy made it in here. Teddy Roosevelt, look at that. He's in there. His cell phone number is 99999. His email address is teddyroosevelt@test.com, and his program interest is after school, because that's what I set the form up to do. So very cool. It's a very powerful tool that you're going to want to have and need to have in your internet marketing arsenal. And this is the very first version, the very first iteration of the Atlas Web Form Builder. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions. Ask them below, and I'd love to contribute. Thank you much. Speak to you soon.